I have notes. I have been thinking a lot about dysphoria. Turns out I don't actually know that much about it. I thought that dysphoria was about hating certain parts of your body because you knew they were wrong because you were of the opposite gender. Turns out that's not what it is. If you hear weird banging, it's Dottie. She's lying on the bed, my dog. She's lonely, nobody's in the house. I may check out the window several times to check that my dad's not coming back. Or my godmother's not here, so just, that's what that is. First thing I'm going to do is look at my notes, because I probably should have looked before I started recording. First thing I want to do is to recommend some YouTubers for people out there who are questioning. So obviously I'm still at the beginning stages, I'm still learning things myself. So I wanted to give you YouTubers who were at various stages or new things. The first person is a guy called Jammy Dodger. I'll link it below. He is 5 years on T, post-op surgery. He does a lot of videos, he's really funny, and he just sort of normalises. He's informative, but he normalises everything into like everyday situations. You know, what's the everyday life of a trans guy, which is really interesting. The next person is, it's called the Transition Channel. It's this woman, she works with transgender people. She's earning a PhD in the area. And she gives a lot of information about, you know, hormones and dysphoria and figuring out that you're transgender. She's got 2 videos that are specifically about FTM Transgender. So go check that out. I found it really informative and she's really calming, so that's good. Next guy is he's called MacMan. He is 3 weeks on T, I think now, and he's just really energetic and really happy. Well, he appears to be happy, and it's just really nice to see someone who's early on, like me, who is, you know, comfortable and happy and, you know, just loving life. He's great. I love him. Yeah, so those are the 3 channels that I look to. Now, dysphoria. I'm going to read the NHS definition of gender dysphoria, because just dysphoria means something different. It's specifically gender dysphoria. Let me Google it. Gender dysphoria. Got a sore throat. I did make a cup of tea. It's kind of going cold and I didn't want to drink it throughout the video because I've got no side table to put it on. Chill the dog, chill. Look, what is... Oh, there's hair all over me. It's molting season. Okay, so gender dysphoria is a condition where a person experiences discomfort or distress because they're mismatched between their biological sex and their gender identity. It never mentions anywhere in there that you hate particular parts of your body, which is nice. You just feel a mismatch. So that was the first indication that maybe I didn't know exactly what dysphoria was. Second indication was when I watched the Transition Channel's YouTube videos about FTM Transgender, and it outlines exactly what dysphoria is and what it feels like for people. It mentioned that there are extreme cases of dysphoria and not extreme, mild. Forgot the word mild. That's fun. There are mild cases of dysphoria. A mild case of dysphoria is probably how I'm doing. You get people who feel dysphoria, where it's basically where they hate their body parts, they feel pain, discomfort, they may self-harm, they know exactly, you know, they hate their breasts and they hate their hips, and they physically pains them that they have those body parts. Mild dysphoria, where it's more about, instead of hating your body, you feel better if you had the body of the opposite sex. If you were born a boy, you would feel better, and you know that. So there's 2 like either end of the scale, and I'm finding that I was always 2, you know, I always said I just wish I was a boy. Wish I was born a boy, it'd be so much easier. But as I'm realising that I am transgender, the more dysphoric I'm becoming about certain parts of my body. In particular, at the moment, it's my hips. They're so wide. Also noticed that there's actually been a lot of dysphoria that I've had about my body, but I just put it down to the fact that I didn't like that I was slightly overweight, which is ridiculous because I don't care enough to stop eating. My hips is one thing. I've always hated my hips. I always thought they were too wide, and I always wanted like thin. I always compared myself to my brother's body, he's like tiny. It's actually quite worrying. He does a lot of exercise and eats sweets all the time, so it's not good. Yeah, I always wanted like his shoulders and his hips, and I never really realised that that's weird because men and women obviously have different body shapes. So I always thought I hated my big fit hips because I was fat and I wanted to lose weight. But that probably actually wouldn't affect the size of my hips too much. Probably not. Get rid of some of the weight, but they'd probably still be wide and I would probably still hate them. Also my breasts, again, always covered them. I didn't like them when they first came in. They were always a nightmare. I didn't want people looking at them. I didn't want them noticeable. When there was like, you know, when you get the little indent in your t-shirt between them, I hated that. I'd always pull it out so that it wasn't obvious that they were there. Also, side of my face. I hated the side of my face. Thought it was chubby cheeks and the fact that I've got fat on my chin. That's just fat. That's why I hate that. But it's because I didn't have those cheekbones that boys had, and I always wanted that jawline. But I would never get that jawline because I have a round face. Because I'm female by birth. Which is So, to test dysphoria. I also learned that people don't necessarily know that what they're feeling is dysphoria. People will be depressed and be anxious and not like their body and, you know, just feel ill, but they won't necessarily know that that is because of dysphoria. They have no clue why they feel that way because their life can be great, but they will feel like shit and it's because of their dysphoria, but they just don't know, and they don't realise that until they realise what their true gender identity is. Also, you can struggle to accept your gender identity because you've spent so long suppressing it. That's something else that I learned. The third thing that's really important is if you're even questioning your gender identity in the first place, then you probably aren't entirely cisgendered. Doesn't mean that you're of the opposite gender, just means that, you know, if you were born female and then males over here, but you're questioning your gender identity, you're probably at least here, you know. But remember, there's loads of different types of gender identity. It's not just male and female, it's a scale. You can be anywhere across it, you know. About here is probably something called a demigirl, where, you know, you're fine with your female body and, you know, that's all fine, but you just don't quite identify with being female. Don't quite identify. And you get non-binary people, you get gender fluid people who will move from one gender to the other, or somewhere in the middle. They'll feel more feminine one day, more masculine the next. And then you get people who are of the opposite gender, like I am. You know, there's more than one possibility of, you know, not being female. So that is really interesting. And it explains so much of my life, because I've always felt like I didn't quite fit. I've always felt like I can only explain it like I had a shadow that was over my entire life, and no matter how happy I was, no matter how good my life was in that moment, there was always something that made me feel ill, basically, mentally. And I could never pin down what it was. I was like, why am I so pathetic? That's what the words I used to think, you know. Why am I being so melodramatic? Because the littlest things would be like disaster. And when I was happy, it wasn't really happy. And I always put that down to just not being able to decipher my emotions, you know. I always thought, I just struggle with knowing what I'm feeling. And it turns out that it's just because there's this shadow over my life where I knew that I was in the wrong body, but I didn't know, you know. important things to know. I'm getting very dysphoric. What is that? Sorry, it's a builder. Thought it was my dad. Everybody experiences dysphoria differently. They feel it at different levels, you know, and you don't necessarily know that it's dysphoria. You don't necessarily connect your mental illnesses with dysphoria. Some people have mental illnesses and it's nothing to do with dysphoria. I'm not saying that if you have a mental illness you're definitely dysphoric. I'm saying that some people don't connect it when it is there. There is a connection, like me. So just remember that. And remember, if you're questioning, you're probably trans, you're not being ridiculous, so it's fine to explore this. You might not be trans. It might be that you're wrong and you're just a tomboy. But you probably are some form of trans, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're the opposite gender. So I would suggest researching. I love researching. As soon as I think of anything that I need to know, I research it to death. It's your own experience, but there are a lot of people that, you know, if you're like me and you're like, but I didn't always know, and there are people who said they've known since they were 5. There are a lot of people that didn't know, okay? There are a lot of people that did not know that they were transgender. It was something that they had to accept, and then they looked back on it and they realised there was a lot of signs. But it's fine that you didn't always know, and it's fine that you didn't know that you had dysphoria. I have dysphoria, and as I said, now that I've accepted who I am and I want to be who I am, I want that perceived to the world and becoming more dysphoric about particular areas of my body. I've had a binder on for months before I even fully accepted, so that really should have been an indication that, yeah, Charlie, what are you doing? You are clearly not cis, so just figure this out. But there's no rush. Do what you want. Experiment. You know, that was one of the big things that people said, you know, just experiment. Cut your hair short, wear boys' clothes, wear a binder, see how it feels for you, and if it feels good, then, you know, it feels good. But just because you wear boys' clothes, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're transgender. But, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Ignore the stereotypes. So just because you weren't into sports when you were younger doesn't mean that maybe you aren't trans. It just means that you weren't a sporty dude. There are lots of dudes that aren't sporty. It's fine. Recap. Those 3 channels that I recommended, I would again recommend going and watching some of their videos. Some people don't know that they're feeling dysphoria. Dysphoria isn't just about hating particular parts of your body so much that you just want to hurt them. It's about feeling a mismatch between your sex and your gender, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you hate your body. It just means that there is a mismatch there. Okay, I'm gonna go. Dottie has fallen asleep. And my dad's here, bye.